let's talk about nothing. Specifically, let's talk about the Nothing Phone 3A. This smartphone was launched at a whopping $380, but I managed to buy it on Amazon for $244 as it was on a promotion. Right now, the phone is being sold for $270, around that price range. And even though this smartphone has only 2 years of software updates left, it's actually one of the best options that you can get around $300 or below $300, basing on where you are going to buy it. One of the things to be impressed by on the Nothing Phone 3A has to be the design. If you look at the back, it has a glass back and a plastic frame, but even though it's a plastic frame, the phone itself still feels premium in hand. If you look at the back, you can see the screws and even the camera groove itself is unique, and it's one of those smartphones that you look at and actually say, I want this and I have never seen this before. In the front, we got Panda glass, but I feel like there is a lot of glare when I was recording the video or even when you're using it on direct sunlight. The glass on the back as well, number one, I feel like it's going to be fragile, and for someone who uses this smartphone and it breaks, I don't really know if the repairs are going to be that cheap. On top of that as well, another concern has to be the smudges, but obviously you're gonna get a case. In fact, you have to get a case unless you are willing to go into that bill if the phone breaks down. On the right side, below the power button, you get the essential key, whereby if you just press it, you'll be able to take a screenshot. But not only take a screenshot, you'll also be able to add recordings, notes, reminders, all these things that will actually help you with your productivity. I don't feel like I'm just going to use this feature, but for some people who really need it, it's going to be helpful. But for some who are not going to be using it, it's going to be a nuisance or just a waste of space because you're not going to be using it. For security, you got an under display fingerprint sensor, which I feel like is very fast, and it's one of the fastest I've ever used so far because I'm kind of the guy who is always using budget smartphones. So for me, it was very much a new experience to see such a snappy performance on an under display fingerprint sensor. The face unlock is also impressive as well, and it can very much compete with those like flagship smartphones. On the other side, we have IP64 dust and splash resistance rating, meaning that for light splashes and whatnot, the smartphone is just going to be fine. You also get stereo speakers, which are going to be very good if you are going to be gaming. Also, if you are going to be consuming media on the smartphone. Consuming media on the smartphone was very enjoyable because you're getting a 6.77-inch AMOLED display, which is very definitive when it comes to colors, and watching a movie on this one absolutely rocks. Also, the gaming experience is also layered because of the high resolution as well as the AMOLED display itself. The screen is also 120Hz refresh rate, and gaming on this was super smooth to the point where I actually thought I was cheating. At some points, you could actually see it. It's also bright with a peak brightness of 3000 nits. So if you're using it outside, it's going to be fine. But as I have said, the glare on this one is a bit concerning. So the screen itself is smooth, it's lovely, and I feel like for both media consumption and gaming, it's going to be fine. Taking photos on the Nothing Phone 3A is an absolute marvel. First of all, the photos are not oversaturated like on most of these smartphones. Even if you use the beauty, like the beauty filter, you won't even see if it was actually used. In some of these photos that you are seeing right now, it is very evident that I use the beauty filter sometimes, but it's not to that point where it's over exaggerated. It captures colors very, very well, but when you try to zoom in and take like photos which are very far away, the enhancements are not that good. It's obviously still gonna look blurry. If you go around in the camera settings themselves, I think you're going to see that there are many features you can use. You can use multiple filters which have been pre-installed when you buy the smartphone, multiple filter like the black and white filter. If you go to the advanced section, you can tweak or play around with the settings to create stunning photos like some of these sunset pics that I'm showing you right now. They are very beautiful. They don't look like they were edited very much, but it's obviously because I was just messing up with the settings. The ultra wide shots on this one are a bit concerning. I feel like the ultra wide lens was very irrelevant since it is 8 megapixels, a 50 we also give a 50 megapixel wide lens and the 50 megapixel telephoto lens, which are both very good, but the ultra wide is too bad. You don't get good photos on this one. The video quality is also great, but I feel like when you try taking videos with the selfie camera, it starts to show. The back camera takes great video, 4K at 30 FPS, which is fine. The selfie camera also does decent work with a 32 megapixel lens, which is fine in my own standards. And you can see on some of these camera samples that the photos came out looking good. The cameras itself, both the back cameras and the front selfie camera, they do well when it comes to using the lighting which is around you. Whether you're using artificial light or just regular sunlight, you can see that it manipulates it in a way that in the end, the photos still look good. The battery life, I actually managed to use it under normal usage for the whole day, starting from somewhere around 8 a.m. up to way into the night. I would estimate around 10 to 13 hours under normal usage, even if you game somewhere in between. This means that if you're just doing an amalgamation of tasks, what I mean by that is you game there for like 1 hour, then you do this, then you do that, the battery life is going to be very much sufficient. But if you spend the whole day doing high intensive tasks, overloading it, I don't think you're gonna reach that 10-hour mark. Battery itself is 5000 milliamp hours and it charges at 50 watts wired. If you go into the software, you see multiple features like that. You can stop it at 80% if you want to save the battery life, stop it at 70, 90 and whatnot. All these features which are very, very useful. In the software itself, you're getting Android 15 on this one out of the box with nothing OS, somewhere around 3.0 or something like that. But after you upgrade it, I managed to go to Android 16, which is the first software update, and leaving us with 2 left. I really love the design language if you open up the camera, the timer, the sound recorder, but the moment you get into that whole feeling whereby you're seeing this new way of looking at the software and whatnot, then you open an application that is bland. It's so annoying. I feel like if nothing wants to add that design language to most of these internal applications that come with the phone, they should just do all of them. The calendar, this, that, they should give it that nothing touch. The moment you get like 3 apps which have that like accent to it, then others don't. That's not so good. If you want to play around with the glyph lights, you can make them follow along to certain ringtones on the smartphone. You can make them follow along to songs, which I didn't find pleasant. But you know, you never know what people actually like. So you have to test it out once you buy the phone if you like it or not. But as a feature for using on timers or alarms or whatnot, it's a very good way to do so. I personally think that's one of the main uses of the glyph lights. If you're not using them for that, I don't even know. When you pull down the volume button, you can set it so that it follows along with your volume level, which is fun to use. But when are you actually gonna look back there and look at it? The model that I got right here has 128 gigs and 8 gigabytes of RAM, which is fine. We got UFS 2.2 storage, and I know that most people are just gonna say, oh, it's not UFS 4.0, but I feel like UFS 4.0 is usually put on flagship smartphones, and if you're going to be transferring low-level files, you're not gonna notice the difference. The moment you start wanting to move like files which are over 50 gigs on this smartphone is when you're gonna feel like, nah, this is not good. Otherwise, under regular usage, I don't really have any problem with it, and you shouldn't have that problem too, because what are you transferring that's so big that you want it to move in 2 minutes? Also got the Snapdragon 7H Gen 3, which is a fine chipset on this one. The phone is smooth. I didn't see any problem whatsoever when using it. When you start gaming on this smartphone, it's when you realize that the smartphone itself is a beast. I played Call of Duty Mobile and PUBG, and both of these at the highest settings possible. Ultra graphics, max FPS, and I was able to get around 50 to 60 FPS on both. That's why I say that gaming on this one felt like I was cheating. And when it comes to cooling, the phone doesn't really overheat, especially if you go out around 30 minutes playing non-stop on the game itself. You just feel a bit of heat, but it's not going to be that point where it's actually scalding. It's just going to be warm. This means that the cooling is fine, the gaming performance is fine. So Is there anything bad on this smartphone? The only two major trade-offs that I saw has to be the glare on the screen and the back glass with the durability issues, especially if you're buying it in Zimbabwe where you won't get repairs if it breaks. Glip flights are a bit gimmicky, but I love them. So nothing phones in general, almost all of them, they have great features, great designs, but it's always a hate it or love it decision whereby you see someone loving it very, very much and someone hating it very, very much. So what is my declaration on the smartphone? I liked it. The camera is good. The zoom and is not that good when you take photos zoomed in at max, but still the photos are good. The demos are good. The performance is fine. It's very smooth. The display is bright and vibrant. So that's all.